Hello, class. These are my audiences for my commemorative speech. One of them will help me to record the video.
The history of the struggle in South Africa is rich with the stories of heroes, heroines, some of them leaders, some of them followers. All of them deserve to be remembered. Hello everyone, my name is Theodros Aichellet. The quote I just shared is one of my favorites from my honorary Nelson Mandela. To commemorate such an amazing man in only a few short minutes will be a difficult task. What I would like to do during this speech is to share a little about Mandela's childhood, his political participation, his imprisonment and presidency. Born Rolila Mandela on July 18, 1980 in the tiny village Mabezo. A boy raised herding cattle and tutored by elders of his Timbu tribe. His day started and ended like any other child who was raised in South Africa plains. Rise early, have a few choices. Go to school, play football barefoot on dry dusty ground, helping family in work, homework, time to bed. One funny day, he arrived at the school door, full of anticipation for the new adventures that he would meet. He is given a new name, Nelson, by the school teacher, Miss Madingi. In accordance with the custom of giving all school children Christian name, he likes his new name. It rolls up on the missionary's tongue. He enjoyed school like most young boys of his age. He left Makwende and heads to Johannesburg where he studies law. He would not know that this would be the turning point in his life. Mandela, while increasingly politically involved since 1942, he joined the African National Congress in 1944. In 1952, Mandela became National Volunteer-in-Chief of Defense a campaign of civil disobedience to defy unjust laws. Mandela and others were imprisoned for boldly resisting or defying and their part in the campaign. They sentenced to 9 months of hard labor and suspended for 2 years. This would be the beginning of his long walk to freedom. Nelson Mandela follows the teaching of many great men before him, Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Nehru, and Dr. Martin Luther King. He practiced and preached public resistance with his friends. This was short-lived. They turned into violence to retaliate the beating, flogging, and brutal treatment in prison. Many countries who believe in the cause helped them. Train Nelson Mandela and his men. January 11, 1962, using the adapted name David Motsamai, Mandela secretly left South Africa. He traveled around Africa and visited England to gain support for the armed struggle. He received military training in Morocco and Ethiopia and returned to South Africa in July 1962. On August 5, 1962, Mandela was arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison for illegally leaving the country. This would be the start of nearly 3 decades of imprisonment. While in prison, Mandela was charged and in the trial he concluded, "During my lifetime, I have dedicated myself to this struggle of African people. I have fought against the white domination and I have fought against the black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all peoples live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It's an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Mandela was found guilty on 4 charges of sabotage. Avoid the death sentence, Mandela and other 6 non-white defendants were sentenced life imprisonment and sent to prison on Robben Island. On the notorious Robben Island, where he would spend 18 of 27 prison years, confined to a small cell, slept on the floor, bucket for a toilet. He was forced to do hard labor in a lime quarry, receiving mega rations. He was allowed 1 visitor a year for 30 minutes. He could write and receive 1 letter every 6 months. But Robben Island became crucible which transformed him. Through his intelligence, charm, and dignified defense, Mandela eventually bent even the most brutal prison officers to his will. assumed leadership over his jail comrades, and became the master of his own prison. On the outside, the people continued to struggle. February 11, 1990, Nelson Mandela walked hand in hand to debate from Robben Island, his home, his cage, wearing his white prison gown. His message to South African people was, let the healing begin. We need to learn to forgive, but not forget. The struggle is one of South Africa's greatest heritage. Sunday, February 11, 1990, he was released from prison. Mandela immersed himself in official talks to end white minority rule, and in 1991, he was elected ANC president to replace his ailing friend Oliver Tambo. On May 10, 1994, he was inaugurated as South Africa's first democratically elected president. After one-term presidency, true to his promise, Mandela stepped down in 1990. Nelson Mandela never shifted from devotion to democracy, equality, and he didn't answer racism with racism. His life is an inspiration to all who are oppressed and deprived. Nelson Mandela sacrificed the majority of his life for the freedom of his people. For this, in 1993, he was given the Nobel Peace Prize together with F.W. de Klerk, the former South African president. But the greatest honor comes from his people, in honoring of being called Madiba, father of the nation. The world loves this man. He has been given countless awards by countries around the world. As Tansari Lim said, he is one man who has crossed all religious and racial barriers, a man who inspires people across all divides, all around the world. Without doubt, his willingness to walk the road of sacrifice distinguishes him as one of the greatest symbols of resilience, tolerance, nonviolence, and moral integrity of our age, perhaps of all ages. Surely, Nelson Mandela will continue to be a source of inspiration for civil rights activists of this great world. Behind the changes that he brought, he has proved through his own life that faith, hope, and charity are qualities not beyond the attainment of humanity. Thank you, Madiba.